This is Michelle Rich with the Iowa After School Alliance. It looks like we have Barb, Heidi, Kathy, and Nicole on, so thank you all for joining. I don't have a formal presentation today, but I did want to have a chance to walk through the wiki and show you what some of the functions are. Give a few updates here today on some of the things that we have going on, and allow you to ask any questions that you might have about using the wiki. First off, I wanted to make a few announcements. First, the new fiscal year 2012 grantees will be announced very soon. So the announcement will first be posted on the Department of Education website. So keep an eye out for the 21st Century page on the Department of Education website to see the announcements. I think the reading went really well, and next year, or next cycle I should say, if you're not applying, please consider being a reader of the grants. I think this process this year went better than last year's, and we keep improving every year. It really does give people a chance to get a good idea of what's going on across the state, and hopefully we make it fun for people after the work of individually reading each application. So I think people really enjoyed it this year. The second announcement is the registration has opened for the 2012 Summer Institute. This year it's in New Orleans. I sent some information out to the network maybe last week or the week before. You do need to get a pre-approval through VIC for out-of-state travel. So that's something that was not included in that email. So please be sure to send off an email to VIC about attending anything out of state for which you'll seek reimbursement. So just be sure to get pre-approval for that. The Summer Institute is July 30th through August 1st in New Orleans. And I have found that hotels are going quickly. And I had trouble getting just 2 rooms for Aaron and I. So you might consider reserving rooms now, even before the pre-approval, because of course you can cancel, before a certain date without a charge. If you do end up getting approval and wanting to reserve rooms and are having difficulty, I did live in New Orleans for a few years, so if you'd like help finding a good location of a hotel room in a safe neighborhood around the convention center, I'm happy to help you with that. That area is a little underdeveloped in parts, so you might want to find some good hotels nearby that aren't on the website. Last year I went to some pretty good workshops on PPICS and some presentations from other programs across the country. It's a pretty large event, so you get a chance to network with your colleagues from other states. It's kind of fun to see what's going on across the country. And then, of course, we do have some team time for Iowa, so if you're going, I'll collect names of people that are attending, and we can find time to have some Iowa time, whether that be over dinner or at other times. Then finally, I wanted to give you an update on what we're doing from the information collected on March 31st, the evaluation information. ERMS and the Iowa After School Alliance and Department of Ed are working on developing the tool, and we'll be getting the evaluation group, the evaluation committee together here in the next few weeks. So we will keep working on that tool and getting input from you all, so keep on the lookout for additional information on that. those are the announcements I have, unless, Vic, you have anything else that you'd like to add? So today, like I said, I don't have a formal agenda. I don't have a formal presentation. I wanted to, and Vic is just reiterating the pre-approval needed for out-of-state travel, and I think that's just a policy across state government.
Michelle, is there a specific form, or do we just email, or how do we do that?
Sure, that's a good question, and I'll let Vic answer that, and hold on just a moment as he types. It's a federal policy. So we'll follow up on the details of getting approval, and I'll make sure that we get that information out as soon as possible following the webinar. And hopefully Vic can share it there in the comment section.
Okay.
Because I will need that information as well. So it looks like Vic says email him for the approvals. So he'll process those. I don't have a formal agenda, so I'm just going to walk through the wiki, and I want to encourage you to ask questions as I go through. I'm going to walk through how you start discussions and some of the important information that is on the wiki, and then how to post documents. The point of the wiki, really, instead of a website, is that you can have multiple editors as long as you are a member of this wiki, which all of you have been at least invited to join. You can also create a profile and request to join, and I of course will approve your membership. As long as you're a member, you can edit any content on this site. So that includes deleting information and editing the current information and adding information. What I like about the wiki is that it is pretty easy to use. It's very similar to Word. So once you have gone in to edit the page, it's very similar to that. I'll be flipping back here and there to check the comments. But for those of you that are on the telephone, please jump in with questions if you have them. I will hopefully be able to answer them. So the first page you should see here is the home page, and I use this page to provide some date. So that's just something to be aware of. I have opened this page to editing. So those members of the wiki should be able to edit this page as well. Before, it wasn't editable, except by me, but now I believe it should be open. I don't want you to feel afraid to edit any content on the site. Everything is tracked. So we can always go back and retrieve data, and really nothing is really lost, especially documents. I'll show you how to upload documents, but nothing is lost. So if you make, if there's an error in something that you've edited, please know that we can go back and retrieve that data. So don't worry about that. I'd rather you err on the side of making some of those changes, and I encourage you to experiment a little bit so we can get people sharing information. So these are where I do the announcements. Now before, I know that we had some media coverage of programs. What I've done, because I had put the links on the home page before, what I've done is actually created a 21 CCLC in the news page. So if you have, like Des Moines had that great coverage of a student in their program, Storm Lake Tornado Learning Club was just on the news, so they had a video clip. You can link to that coverage, and I've created that page here over on the left-hand side. If you are a member of the Wiki, you might want to sign in here at the top. Just basically, this is my, obviously I'm logged in as myself. If you get confused as to where your wikis are that you're a member of, you can click on that My Wikis, and you can see that I have a few, but Iowa 21 CCLC should come up if you're a member. So just a few other pieces of information. The navigation is here on the left-hand side, and you can see that we have quite a few pages. And some people use only a single page on their wiki, and they just put the content there on that single page. What I've done to better organize all of the information that we have for 21st century, I've created different pages. You can go ahead and create a new page. That's probably not necessary on your end, but if you feel like there's another area of information you'd like to see, the Pages and Files link up here is where you'll want to click. And so I'll show you that in just a little bit when we go to upload a file. Some important pages that you'll want to know of and check back frequently on. Not just the content pages, but the program docs is an important page. You can see here that we've included notes from all our grantee meetings. We'll have some, likely have some new program documentation for the orientation, and we'll share that with everyone. We've talked about the amendment form. That's here on the program docs page. We have the program manual and the federal guidance, and then some of the financial pieces, and the supplement versus supplant documentation, the PPICS reports. And then we've also included the funded applications from the last cycle, and we'll likely be sharing the funded applications again for this cycle. And then we've also included the PPICS login link here for data reporting. And we might include some additional documentation as they're created or they're shared with us. So that's the program documentation, and this is where we'll share all those really important program documents. Another page that you'll want to pay attention to is the upcoming events page. And this is where we've created our own little table for upcoming events, and these include our webinars that we do monthly, as well as the special webinars like the evaluation webinar that we did a few months back. And then any professional development that we've identified that you might be interested in, not that you have to attend. Nothing on here is necessarily mandatory, of course. And then, like we've included the Iowa After School Alliance a research forum that we have coming up in June, we've included that information. So you can see here that there's a few different types of events. And we'll include any links to registration that you might need here. And I encourage you to add any other events that you'd like people to know about. And so you can see here that there's a registration link for the Summer Institute. So this is something that's always changing as well. One way to see really a snapshot of the most up-to-date information on the wiki is on this home page right here, the highlighted section, Wiki Spaces, all changes. You can see that Claire, the user C. Parrish, has updated contact information on the contact page. And then I have just recently updated some events, so that's likely to change very often. But what's nice about the changes is that you can go see exactly what has changed, and it will take you to the page and also explain the changes. So what I did was click on that link, Contact, and it takes you right there. So you can see that we updated Shani's email here. So that was the change that was made. I'll go back to the home page quickly and show you one more change. So the next change was upcoming events, and if I click on that, again, it tells you who made the change, and you can revert to the old version. So like I said, you can always go back to the original version. You can see there that it's very easy to do that. So you can see here that I added the Nonprofit Summit information here. That's not until November. I'd like you to take note of that date. That's usually a pretty good event for nonprofits mostly, and any organization that manages volunteers. The Iowa Commission on Volunteer Service is a coordinator of that event. We've also done workshops in the past, so keep that in mind. The registration is not available for that yet, but this is just one example of a case where I wanted you to have the date early. So that's how you can track the changes that have been made. And then otherwise, up here at the top, there's a recent changes link. At the bottom of a lot of the pages, I've created a link to sign up for the Iowa After School Alliance's newsletter. If you're not already signed up for that, that includes professional development and grant information that we send to our membership. So that's another good way to find information. But I've made it easy, and that link is on a few of the pages. I wanted to go back to the content or contact page. That's another important page on the site. And one reason that we've done this wiki itself is to encourage information sharing among you all. This is contact information for all programs as well as the Department of Education. So you can see that here Vic's information is prominent, as is Jill's information and Becca's. And then Erin and my contact information is also on here. And then ERMS, the external evaluator, Dr. Ingram's information is here as well. Then I have also developed a Google map for programs, and so you can see here that it links very nicely to the map and the information for each of the grantees. So it's just a nice little way to see the geographic coverage of programs. And then for each cohort, we've included contact information. So you can come on here and get email addresses and phone numbers of any of your colleagues across the state. This is also something that I encourage you to update if anything is out of date or wrong. We try to keep this up to date ourselves for our own purposes, and then of course to facilitate information sharing among you all. Then also, because it's hard to copy each of the individual emails for each program, we've created a Google group. And each program has been invited to be a member of the Google group. And mostly this is for to have a common email address, so it sends to all the programs that are part of that Google group. So that's just a common email that you can use, a single email, and it will send your message to everyone that's a part of the group. If you'd like contact information, I'm happy to share it in a form that's easier for you if you can't copy and paste from this site, so you can always contact me for any information. Some additional information that's provided on the site before we go to uploading documents and editing content. We have the best practices webinars. We have linked to each recording and the resources for each on this page, as well as information on the next webinar. So we have a pretty significant amount of information here on this page, and they're always accessible. So that's all the information from the best practice webinars. That includes the special webinars that we've done with the electric company and evaluation. So that's the best practices webinars page. We also have information from the best practices site visits, and we've shared those reports for your colleagues, and we will have some others to post here soon. And we've also posted some pictures when made possible. Then we have some different areas, mostly around the committees. So we have our evaluation and data collection, and we have created some navigation through pages. So here you can see that we have linked to the evaluation best practice webinar on this page because it's related to evaluation and data collection. But then we've also included some important PPICS information. And just recently I posted some of the discussion around the teacher surveys. So you can see that Brenda and Becky and Ashley and Amy have included some suggestions on how to increase the response rate for the teacher survey. And then some notes from Becca, of course, our PPICS guru, and some additional information on the statewide evaluation, and FERPA, of course. Then some other content areas include quality programs and services, outreach and communication, technology, service learning, and fitness and nutrition. And we're likely to add pages if appropriate, if there's a distinct enough content area, or we'll just add resources to these pages. So you can see quickly here on the service learning page, we've identified some resources and then some contact information. Some additional pieces, resources. On the resources page, we have the link to the after school advisor, and then Vic has been very good about identifying online resources like this grant writing resource from Atomic Learning. We also have links to some of the other online websites and organizations that we think you might find useful. And this is something that we encourage you to add if you have a useful link or a curriculum resource that you find really helpful, please add. And we have some additional links to documents as well, and then some resources from the Iowa After School Alliance. One other area one other page and some content that I wanted to make you aware of is the logos. We have made available the 21st century logos for your use, and it's easy to copy and paste. If you right click on the image, you can you have the menu to save the image or view the image. And so you can see that it comes up and you can save it. So I'll just navigate back to that page. But we created this logo mostly for Facebook, that first one that doesn't have the text with it. And then we have the nice logo with the text as well. I wanted to walk you through updating and editing information. I will pause here just momentarily for any questions before we go on to some of the other functions. Okay, great. Well, I wanted to be sure that you understood how to edit content just very basically, and how to upload documents. And like I said, it's very similar to Word. So I will go to one of the pages, and what we can do is we'll just go to 21 CCLC in the news. And to edit the page, you have to be, like I said, you have to be a member, so you have to be signed in. It will look, you will not have this option here, the upper right-hand corner of the page, if you're not signed in, because you can't edit unless you're a member. So once you're signed in, you have the option to edit. So if you click on edit, it comes up with the cursor. And if I return, you can input text here, just like you would on a Word document. The one thing that I will warn you about is don't get very creative. You can't get very creative with different types of text and fonts. So just make sure that it's the normal option here. It doesn't give you many other options other than heading, so you can tell it'll look rather different. But you won't get in trouble for using a heading versus normal, so don't worry about that. The only other options you have for text really is to bold, italicize, or underline. And it's up to you what you want to do. I usually like with the headers for new content, I like to bold it, just so it differentiates it from the other text below. link to an external website, what you do is highlight and go to this link button here, and it will ask you whether or not you want to link to another page on the wiki. Most likely you will not do that, but what you will be doing most likely is the external link. And so here, where the cursor is, that's where you put http:// the address. That's where you put that. And I usually like to do a new window, but it doesn't really matter. That just means that it's going to pop up a new browser window when you click on the link. So I will go to the Iowa After School Alliance page for this, and if you click on New Window and you add the link, you can, it will pull up URL here, and so that's how you know that you've put in a link. So just so you know if it's correct or not, you can visit that page, and it should pull it up here. So we just put in the link. If you click on that arrow, that's where it will bring up that information. You can change it. It'll take you back to that, or you can remove it. And it's that simple. So the other option is to add a document or a file. And depending on what you want to name it, or where you want to put the file, it doesn't really matter. How you do that is you go up to this file button, and they've made it a little bit easier to insert images and files. So if you go to the insert file here, what you can do is go to upload files, and that will take you to your computer, and you can upload a file on your computer. So we have here the, this is from our, my computer here, and if, for instance, we wanted to upload the meeting notes, I can just double click there and open it, and it uploads the file, and we can automatically link to it on the page, and that's what it'll look like. So if you click on it, it has the option to remove it. It does look kind of funky, but don't worry about that. That's just the way it looks. If you go to save, you always have to save your changes. That's what it looks like. Another way to upload files, if you don't know exactly where you want to put them yet, you can go to the Pages and Files page here at the upper left-hand corner of the site. If you click on that, it goes to all of the files that we have, the pages and files that we have. Don't delete anything, but certainly add files if you'd like to. How to upload the file? You simply upload files here, and it takes you to a very similar page here. Just go to add files, and it will take you to your computer again. And I'll just upload a file so you can see it. Here's our table work spreadsheet, and once it's got the green check mark, it's uploaded, and it shouldn't really take very long. And then it goes in alphabetical order here, and you can search for it. And it will be one of these documents. And so just make sure that you have a very clear name for your document, and that way you can find it again, because we're adding up the files here. And then to link on the page, you just go back to, you go to whichever page you'd like it, and you do the same process. So really the easiest way to do that, go to the page you'd like to upload it, go to File, and if you've previously uploaded a file, it will be here, or otherwise Upload File here. Any questions about uploading files and linking to files or external pages? Okay. The other function that I wanted to talk about was the discussion function. If you're a member of the site, you will have the option here to create discussions. And this comes up on each page that's editable. So no matter what page you're on, you'll see that option. So here we're on the Iowa's 21 CCLCs page. There's the discussion option again. So if I click on that, you can see that the last discussion that was posted was by me, and it was a question from Erica in Cedar Rapids about the teacher surveys. And if you click on the subject, you can see everyone who replied. And you can see that Becky in Storm Lake had replied to my question, and Ashley and Amy. And that was a really nice, we had really good suggestions for the teacher surveys. And it's very easy to post here in the discussions. You can see at the bottom of the page, you have the subject, and you can make it very easy to reply here. So if you input your answer here, you can also receive updates on the topic if you want to stay up to date regularly. Otherwise, you can just check back on the post. And if you press the post button, it will post your answer to the discussion. And it's very easy to delete, so if you make a mistake, just go ahead and delete your message. So my only suggestion for the discussion is that the subject, you make it very clear what the subject is of your question or your discussion item. It doesn't necessarily have to be a question. You can just be sharing some information. And then in the text, you can get a little bit more detailed. So you can see Ashley has asked a question about storage. And she posted that on the 3rd of January. And she has no replies yet. So if you have anything that you'd like to add, I encourage you to go on there. And if you just hit back to discussion, this is where you add a new question here, the new post. And if it gets large enough, if we have enough questions or subjects here, there's the search option. So that is the discussion function, and I hope that a few of us can start using this. Last year we had some questions about who was going to the Summer Institute, and here again we can put a question out there, the 2012 Summer Institute was planning on going. Summer Institute. And if we post it, it'll show up that I posted a new one. And you can see the last time it was responded to here. So that is the end of the functions for the wiki. I am going to pause here and ask for any additional questions that you have, or any recommendations for using the wiki, or anything that would help you use it, or any other questions you might have. I really think that this, the wiki has lots of options and opportunities for us as a network. So I've tried to help some grantees use the wiki themselves, as you know, I get links to news items or resources. I'm really going to work with you all to help you to post things yourselves, just so it can become a very dynamic information sharing tool. I'm more than happy to do it, but eventually I'd like to see this be much more dynamic and the changes occurring very regularly throughout the day. Any other questions that you have about using the wiki? Well, great. As you go and use the tool, I'm here for any questions that you might have. If you have something that you'd like to post and we can walk through doing that for the first time, or for the 5th time, I am always here for you. So please feel free to contact me with any questions. So thanks everyone. Get your approval in for the Summer Institute. I hope you can go. And like I said, I lived there for a few years, so